Hey, what's happening? This is your host Tinto, and before we get started on this week's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that got me coffees, starting with you, Enara V, and your comment there reads, Inje Kukuripa, your host Vedu, for the triggering behavior of good riddance. It was like, oh my. Next up, I got an anonymous person who gave me 10 generous coffees. Thank you so much. And your comment there reads, I can finally pay my dues. Thank you for an amazing podcast. Here's to more calling people out on their bullshit. Hey, thank you so much. Melanated Laura, thank you so much. And your comment there reads, no coffees but cold gin and tonic for the summer. Thank you so much, man. You've been such a great supporter of the podcast. I appreciate you. And then last but not least, we got Wenkosi. I put out a tweet to say, look, if you guys want to see a picture of my son's incredible photography, give me a coffee. And she gave me a coffee. And, well, coffees. And a comment there reads, showcase the young man's work, please. These coffees are for him, actually. Well, Wenkosi, you'll be proud to know that I gave him the coffees you gave him, and he had an incredible weekend with the money that you gave. If you'd like to support the podcast in a similar way, please head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/feeling station and give as your spirit leads. Remember, there is nothing too small to support the podcast that you've grown to love. With that out of the way, let's go straight into this week's much-awaited episode.
Is that a breakup? I think we have a situation right here. On the Feeling Station.
Hello.
Hey, what's happening?
I'm good, you?
I'm doing all right. I'm still trying to wake up.
Grab a coffee or a Red Bull.
You know, this is going to be one interesting episode because literally this is my morning voice. And hey, I'm trying to fight it off. I'm struggling. But hey, welcome to the Feeling Station.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
For those listening to this podcast for the first time, it's a romantic family and friendship breakup podcast showcasing stories that people would like to talk about with a view to give lessons from their experiences. Now, I hope you find today's story entertaining, but more importantly, meaningful. Now, the podcast is popular for two main reasons, right? One being I do my best to keep my guests anonymous. So, let's go to the fun part. I've picked a name for you from West Africa. And the name that I have is Tiombe, which is Tiombe, Tiombe.
Okay.
And what that means
What does it mean?
It means the shy one.
Ah, okay.
I don't think you're shy. Let's not even go there. I don't think you're
No,
shy.
not really.
So it means the shy one. And what name are you giving the person you're going to talk about today?
So the name I'm going to give him is Ryan.
Ryan. Okay. Why Ryan?
Mm-hmm. It's sort of a popular name amongst his friends, so I just thought maybe it's easier.
It's easier to go with Ryan. Cool. So the story is about Tiombe and Ryan. And the second reason why the podcast is popular is there are real life lessons that people learn from the stories they listen to. So what stories do you have for anybody listening to this episode today?
The first lesson Yenda Kutit Savanu is first lesson. Ladies, please don't marry yourself.
Yeah, ne? Whatever that means, but we'll get into it when the story unfolds.
Yeah, never marry yourself.
You got a second lesson?
The second lesson is how do I say this without saying it in Shona? Okay, so you know, like the process of kutizira. So my main lesson is don't do that. If you know that the guy has a family, just don't bother doing that because he's always going to stay with the wife.
Hey, okay. Okay. In English, I'm basically going to say don't elope with the man, especially when you know he has a family. Juicy.
And the last lesson. The last lesson is the person that's going to be scared that, like, I've seen this like all over TikTok lately, and it's been screaming out to me, and that's like, nobody's more scared of a person that's going to like tell the truth.
Yeah.
They'd rather like name and shame you and like say all this crazy stuff about you so that you don't tell the truth about what's actually going on.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to see how I can phrase that lesson. So you just said nobody's more scared than the person that knows that they're going to tell the truth? Or is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just phrase that. Cool. Got another one?
No, those are all the lessons that I'm going to discuss.
Mad. Dang. So let's get straight into it, Tiombe. Where did you meet Ryan and why did you feel, this is the guy for me?
Okay, so I met Ryan online. So we started like texting online back and forth on WhatsApp. So he actually slid into my DMs on WhatsApp after I'd just gone through a breakup.
How did you find your number on WhatsApp? Were you guys friends already?
Yeah, we were already friends.
Okay, how were you
friends? So we actually met through we met through mutual friends, like a couple that was already dating. So they introduced us.
Okay.
And then since then, like he started messaging me. And you know like how you go through like a talking stage?
There's something that's not adding up. It's moving too fast, Tiombe.
That's the story.
So you guys were a bunch of friends. You obviously had each other's numbers. At that point, was he in a relationship with someone?
No, he wasn't, but I was.
Okay, so he was in a relationship. He wasn't, and then you were in a relationship, and then he started texting you in a romantic way.
Yeah, like sort of
whilst you were with someone?
No, we had just broken up, so I was just like looking to move on.
Okay, right, okay.
Yeah, so like, you know how they say like the best way to get over someone is to like find someone else?
Well, I think about 2 episodes ago, I just mentioned a saying I was told and I was shocked. And they were basically saying to get over someone, you need to get under someone. I was like, yo. So I guess this is very similar to that, to say to help get over someone, start talking to somebody else. I'm not sure that works.
Mine ended up in a marriage, so it kind of works.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So, basically, we had a talking stage, and I think like after 2 days, that's when he asked me to be his girlfriend, and then that was it.
2 days, yeah.
2 whole days. He did not waste time at all.
And you said yes? So what is it that you liked about him so much that didn't make you think twice?
The thing is, like, most of the guys that I dated, like, they never really, like, took interest in, like, what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. So, like, people that were asking, like, oh, how's your day been? How's work been? What are you doing today? Like, those types of things. Like, they never took interest in it, but he did. So that's sort of what drew me to him, because I was like, oh, someone who's actually interested in what I do and is actually listening to me.
Okay. So you felt seen. And that's why it was easy for you to say yes within 2 days.
Yeah.
Was he attractive?
Very.
In what way?
I'm more of a personality type person, but this guy had everything. Like, he had the looks and personality.
Mud. Okay. So you're now his girlfriend, and then what happens?
So we're now texting back and forth, and like I'm arranging to go to Zim, but then COVID hit. So me and my cousin wanted to go to Zimbabwe in April, so we couldn't like fly anywhere or do anything. And Australia was like in a really, really strict lockdown.
Oh yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
So we couldn't leave, we couldn't even leave 5 kilometers away from our house, basically. Like, it was that bad. So our relationship was mainly online, and we were, like, texting back and forth, FaceTiming every single day, talking on the phone, like, pretty much every single day, until the borders re-lifted, and I was like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm coming to Zim. And then that's when he was like, oh, by the way, yeah, I want to meet your tete, by the way. Before you come, I want to meet your tete.
So this relationship is happening long distance? Ah, okay.
Yeah. So he was like, I want to meet your tete, I want to get married, you're the one for me, blah, blah, blah. And that's basically how this whole Aurora thing went down. So he actually went to Masasa to go and meet my tete.
And this was how far into the relationship?
This was, I think, 2 years in.
Okay, yeah.
2 years of talking online. And 2 years of lockdown.
That's crazy, man. But it's sounding quite strong. I mean, he's sounding focused and intentional.
Yeah, like that's the type of person that I am. Yeah, I can be like that. So I was like, okay, cool, you can do that. You can go meet Anna Tete if you want to. That's fine. So he sent his friend to Tete to ask for my hand in marriage. And that's when, like, our families, like, I was starting to introduce, like I wanted to introduce him to my family. Like, he's the first guy that I've ever introduced to anyone in my family. So I went straight to my guru. I went straight to Anna Tete. I went straight to, like, everyone. And I'm like, guys, this is my boyfriend. You guys need to meet him. So they were like, okay. So he went to go and see my guru as well. And she questioned him.
Big time.
Like, she went, yeah. Like, she really, really questioned him. He was like, okay, so what are your intentions with my daughter? Like, apparently, like, the questioning was so intense that his friend that went with him was really uncomfortable. And he was like, man, these British people. He was like, man, these British people, I'm never going to go back there ever again.
The interesting thing is, those are very important questions because there's a lot of people out there who really don't know what they want for themselves and let alone for somebody else's daughter.
Exactly.
So they're pertinent questions. And if they were feeling uncomfortable, I think that's a really good sign. It's an opportunity for you to really check yourself and say, is this what I really want and am I ready? Because if a guy is genuinely ready and he knows exactly what he wants, those questions would be easy.
Exactly.
They're only difficult for somebody who doesn't know what they want. So how did he find the questioning? I know his friend was uncomfortable, but how did he find the questioning?
He found the questions quite okay, but it was just like he wasn't quite used to the environment because he lives in Mavuku. I live in Bordeaux.
Yeah.
So, like, being in, like, these big Bordeaux houses was, like, quite intimidating to start off with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so it gets questioned, and then what happens?
So then we got the AOK from, like, everyone to go ahead with Dorora and stuff like that. So now I'm planning on going to Zim. My dad is basically like, okay. Let's just start planning all the whole Lobola thing. So then I'm like, okay, let's do that then. So my dad was like, oh, you're getting married on January 9th. Okay. And that was around the time that I was going to Zim. So when I tell you that planning Rora was stressful, it was stressful. And this is the first lesson that I was saying, Kuti, like, a woman should never marry herself.
Expand on that. And I know you're going to get into it. So you're saying it's stressful. Is this because you were doing most of the planning yourself?
I was basically doing everything, even like getting the money involved as well. I was part of that.
Well, what do you mean getting the money involved?
Okay, so he was actually working in South Africa for a little bit, but the money that he had wasn't enough, and I knew like my family wouldn't accept the $600 that he had. So me being stupid and in love, I was like, you know what, let me just top it up. So like me and his friends, we started planning on what to do with the money, the whole money situation. And his friend was like, okay, if you guys do this, I'm going to give you guys 1,000 USD. If he really works for you, I'm going to give him 1,000 USD. But you need to put in a little bit more extra. So me being stupid, I ended up putting in about 20,000 rands, which is about what, like $2,000?
Right.
Yeah, in Australian bucks, it's like $2,000. And when I get to them, I'm like, okay, guys, I really want to see the money. Where's the money? There was not even $1.
What?
Nothing. Like the full 20,000 rands that I put in, it went missing. Because 48 hours before the whole Ebola date, his side of the family called my side of the family, like the Munyang. And they were basically like, oh, by the way, have you guys actually seen the money? Because it doesn't make sense for us to come down if there's not going to be anything.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew that, all I knew was that he had $600, which he showed me, but the rest of the money went missing. So I had a lot of questions. So my Sakuru, who was the Munyai at the time, he got involved and he was like, okay, let's just save ourselves from embarrassment here. I'm going to be a loan shark, right? So he was basically like to my husband and his friends, like, he's going to be the loan shark. And I knew nothing about this. All I knew was there was $600 and that was it. So on the day of the lobola, all of a sudden, there's 4,600.
So $4,000 came from somewhere.
It came from somewhere.
Sekuru.
So like, yeah. So like, you can imagine like during the like lobola negotiations, you just sat there like 48 hours. There was only $600. Where did the rest of the money come from? And then my Sakuru was like, just be happy that the money's there. Don't question. Don't do anything. Just be happy that the money is there.
You couldn't have been settled about that.
No, like it
because already you have
it was
questions
very
about
concerning.
you know, the first chunk of money that you gave, and I hate to say this, to marry yourself has gone missing. So not only can't you marry yourself, your husband can't marry you either.
Exactly.
Then you have Sekuru on your side, who I'm guessing could be what, mom's brother?
No, dad's brother.
You know, so dad's brother chips in from his own side again, which is lesson number one. You're still marrying yourself. And you're digging deeper into your own pockets to give yourself to a man who's meant to be saying, hey, I'm coming to your home to take care of your wife, or of your daughter, to make it my own. That would be very uncomfortable for me on the day, if I were you.
It was extremely uncomfortable. Like, you can imagine, it was extremely uncomfortable. So, like, I didn't know that my parents had, like, organized a honeymoon for us at the Rainbow Towers Hotel where my cousin works. So that's, like, where we stayed for, like, the duration of the trip. So we ended up doing that. And that's when all the questions about the money started. And we had our first big fight.
How did that go? Tell me about that.
Kumba for 5 days.
Wait a minute. So you basically said you went back home for 5 days. So
yeah, I was. The thing is, like, our argument about the money, like, it was so bad, like, to the point where I started recording.
But let me roll it back before you tell me more about that. So Rora happens. Hey, you know, welcome to the family, Tiombe. You know, we love you. Blah 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 blah. And then he's welcomed in, obviously, as Mukwasha, which also means son-in-law. And then people disperse, right? They go to various homes. Where did you go after that? Straight to the hotels? Straight to Rainbow Towers?
Straight to the Rainbow Towers Hotel. That's where we had our honeymoon.
Okay, because this is the gift to say welcome to the family. Okay, which is a bit unusual because honeymoon kind of happens after you've had a white wedding versus the traditional one that you had.
Yeah, so, I'm getting to that part in a little bit.
Yeah, okay, cool. So you want to talk about the fight about the money first? Okay, so you get to Rainbow Towers and then you start asking about the money.
Yeah, that's when all the questions about the money start coming up. And then I'm like, okay, can I see your friend's payslips? Because at the time when he was working, he was using his friend's account. So I was like, okay, if you were really working, let me see the payslips. This is what a payslip, like, I even pulled up my own payslip from my job so that he can see what a payslip is supposed to look like. And then I started questioning and interrogating him. And then that's when I pulled out the phone to record. Because, like, things were getting ugly.
Why do you feel the need to record?
I felt the need to record because, like, I didn't know, like, if he was going to be, like, violent or... Okay. Like, I just didn't know because we never had a fight before. This was, like, our very first fight.
But what was he fighting about? Is it the fact that you were questioning him about the money?
He was more so trying to protect his friend because it was the friend that actually ate the money.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't tell, like, he just didn't have the heart to tell me. So then that's when I called the friend and I'm like, okay, hey, can I get your side of the story? And then he was like, I'm not going to talk to you if you're going to talk to me like that. Because like I was already all fired up about the whole money situation. So it wasn't a really friendly phone call at all. So then he cuts the call, and then that's when I'm like, okay, you're telling the truth. But it's just, I can't be around you right now or your friends, so I need to go home.
And this is on the first night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I went home for like 5 days, and my cousin was having a party. So a lot of my, like, you can imagine, like, my guru and bamkuru, they were like so proud. They were like, oh, she's getting married. She got married. And they're telling all their friends that I got married.
Did your parents know that you checked out of the hotel? He might have remained.
They don't know.
And did he stay there for the duration of the...
Yeah, he did.
On his own?
He stayed there for the 4 days. Yeah, this is where it's about to get even wilder. Yeah, so he stayed there for like the 4 or 5 days that I was not there. And we were sorting out things like our passports, because my passport had expired and we had to go and do that. So did his. And then that's when we ended up going to get the marriage certificate. So you know in Zim, like how the marriage certificate law is like, you're not supposed to have another wife.
Yes.
If you have a marriage certificate.
Yes.
Like that is the law.
Yes.
If you don't think that this marriage is for you, then you can go and do a customary marriage like outside, and you can have as many wives as you want.
Right, yeah.
So like no one actually pointed a gun to our heads. Like we actually wanted to do this. So we signed the marriage certificate and everything was fine. And we got back together, and like, it was all happy days. So this is where I'm going to fast forward to the second point of the story is like Usati Ziramun, if you know that he's married or has a family.
Yeah. And in English, that's basically don't elope if you know that a man is married and has a family. So
basically, we were trying to arrange for Ryan to come here to live with me and stay with me. So he did his IELTS and he passed with the band 7. So he did all of that. And everything was all good and funky-dory. And then I find out that he cheated.
2 questions. How did you find out he cheated?
Okay, so do you remember the friend that stole the money, the one that I told you about?
Yes.
So he has a girlfriend called Cheryl. This is where I'm getting to the point, like, was that So it turns out Cheryl was already pregnant at the time. And all of us kept it from her that this friend, her boyfriend, already had a wife. Because it really wasn't our place to stay. We were actually expecting him to tell her eventually, but he never got around to do that.
So Ryan's friend had been cheating on his wife with a girl called Cheryl. And he made Cheryl pregnant.
Supposedly.
Mud, yes?
It's supposedly. Because right now there's a crazy story that there's another guy involved and she doesn't want to do a DNA test. Because she doesn't want to be labeled a prostitute. So
you're speaking in the present.
Yeah. This is where I'm coming up to, like, as to what's happening now.
Like now. Like
now.
In 2023, like April 2023. Yes. Mad. Yes. So this is a live case. Okay.
Yeah. So
okay, allegedly. So allegedly, right? Cheryl is pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay. Go
on.
No,
she was actually pregnant. She's had the baby and everything, but it's allegedly he's the dad.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah. So basically after that, I found out Ryan cheated through Cheryl because Cheryl messaged me saying that, oh, by the way, Ryan's been cheating on you. He was actually going to marry this girl right after you and she's pregnant, blah, blah, blah. So I read the message. I literally read the message and then I called him and I start asking him like all these questions, like what the hell is going on? And he's like, I know nothing. There's nothing of the sort. So I ended up messaging the girl on Facebook. And she was like, okay, yeah, we can talk. And then I asked her, like, what's the relationship with my husband? And she's like, oh, by the way, your husband is my boyfriend.
Hi, boy.
With such confidence. full confidence saying your husband is my boyfriend.
This is crazy. And by this time, you'd gone back to Australia?
This was July. This was around the same time that the Cairo's wife had gone to South Africa to go and see the whole Cheryl situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's everything is going down now. And all the secrets are out.
Right?
So it turns out this girl was actually knocked up. And I was explaining to her, like, you do realize this guy is married, right? And she's like, nope. I didn't know that he was married at all. So I ended up, like, showing her, like, the marriage certificate and everything.
How far in was she?
She was 6 weeks.
Hey. And how long had they been dating for? Well, in a relationship?
Apparently since December 2021.
So she was already in the picture when you were talking to him? Mud! Hey, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this is, like, where, like, the stories start getting crazy.
Yeah.
Like, very, very crazy. So, like, obviously, like, I'm in hysterics. Like, I'm crying, I'm screaming. Like, I was so upset that I went to go and tell my dad.
You went and you told your dad?
Yeah, I was that angry.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, because, like, imagine, like, we welcomed him into the family. We give him a job. And then he goes and does this.
The disrespect is on some levels, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so a few months go in, and now, like, things are calm, things are okay. Then, stupidly, Cheryl decides to tease the friend.
Okay. So Cheryl now elopes and goes to the friend who I'm assuming was married? Was Ryan's friend married?
Yeah, that's the one.
But why did you say stupidly Cheryl does that? But why is that a stupid thing to do?
Because, honestly, would you be happy that, like, you find out that the guy that you're with is married and has 4 kids, and he's left them in Zim, and you still go and live with him anyway?
No.
Exactly. Like, you know full well that this guy has a family, but still you want to play a part in breaking up the family.
Okay. Yeah, so Cheryl goes.
So Cheryl goes, and I fully tell her no, she needs to go home and give birth at home. Because, like, the finances, like, the stories that I was hearing, like, the finances weren't really great in that house. Because I know, like, how their money works and what they do with the money. So then I was telling her, nah, you need to go home, otherwise you're just going to end up destitute. Like, you can't really, like, give birth in the street.
Yeah.
And she doesn't listen.
Sounds like you guys are friends by this point.
Yeah, we were, so I thought we were friends. Yeah, I thought we were friends. Like, I was giving her genuine advice because, like, I was really concerned. Okay. And then I was like, you can go back when things are fully, like, financially stable. Because it didn't make sense for her to stay with them when things weren't financially stable.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they were, like, staying in such an expensive apartment that they can't even afford. So I was still questioning things like, okay, how are you guys affording this if you guys can't even pay this month's rent?
Yeah.
And then I told my husband, I'm like, okay, I'm going to come to Zim again. And this was December of last year that I decided to go to Zim. But you can imagine things between me and the other girl that was like, oh, your husband is my boyfriend isn't great. Because, like,
obviously, you guys are going to exchange words because you're with each other's person. You exactly. Are with her guy and she is with your husband. So you can't be friends.
Exactly. Like, my husband literally went as far as, like, asking my mom if I can come and live with them in Cape Town. And she was like, nope. we're trying to arrange for you to come over here. It doesn't make sense for her to go over there. So it turns out Cheryl then decides to tell Charlene to come and stay in Cape Town and be close to my husband.
So who's Charlene?
The girl that's knocked up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the two knocked up women are now friends?
Yeah, they're now friends.
Because,
and it turns out that...
Because the two guys are friends?
Mm-hmm.
Aibo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it turns out that Cheryl was so busy, like, telling Charlene everything that was going on within our relationship. Everything, every single fight, like, everything. Like, even the fact that I supported her having an abortion.
You supported that?
I mean, it doesn't really make sense. Like, you find out that the guy is married, right? And you guys plan to have a baby, but then now you find out that the guy can't marry you. And she literally said herself that she wanted the abortion. So I was like, your body, your choice. You can do that if you want, but I know in Tim that's culpable homicide.
At what point had you guys become so cordial she could tell you that she wants to abort?
This is
because remember you guys can't.
This
be
is
friends.
like Tisati Tachukana. This is Tisati Tachukana.
So this is before you had your fight and exchange of words.
Yeah, because this is, like girls be girls and we're like just talking about the guy and like what's actually going on.
So why did you eventually fight then? But why didn't you just continue being girls?
Okay, so this is where it gets tricky. We eventually fought because turns out Akatiza was South Africa after she said that she wasn't going to.
So you guys had a fight when you called win that she's now actually going to go and be with your husband in South Africa.
Yeah, so there were rumors that these guys were like all staying together, all four of them, in like a 1-bedroom apartment. And I'm just sat there like, I'm only listening to these rumors because like this girl's family is messaging me because they don't know where she is and they don't know like what's actually going on. So basically her whole family, from her sister to her brother, and now she's saying that apparently Dakatuka Maivake. And I was like, no, I just called your mom to tell her what's up. Like, it's not okay.
At this point, why are you still even fighting for Ryan?
That's the thing. This is the part where it actually gets crazy. So I ended up getting a PI.
What's a PI?
It's like a private investigator.
Tiombe, hold up.
Mm-hmm.
You've found out that this guy lied about the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
You found out in the hotel that was chowed by his friend. You've been, you've married yourself from your own cash.
Yep.
Your dad's brother has supported you marrying yourself with an extra $4,000. You found out that this guy has been in a relationship for pretty much as long as you guys have been in a relationship, with someone else. You found out that this person is pregnant. Charlene, right, is pregnant. What more private investigation stuff do you need when you have everything you need out in the open? Like, what are you hoping you'll get out of a PI that you don't know?
Honestly, the stories were getting a bit too much for me. Like, like when people come up to you with like just basic gossip, but there's no evidence to actually show that that's what's actually happening.
But someone is pregnant. What more evidence do you need?
Exactly. That's the only evidence that I need, but it's just the evidence of kuti akamutizira. That's what I actually needed, because it wouldn't have made a difference, but I just needed to know, because I said that December would be the trip where I decide, okay, am I going to stay with Ryan or am I just going to get a divorce?
I'm just trying to understand how you were processing this in your mind, because from somebody on the outside, and I got to be sensitive to this, because when you're in something, it's not as easy to do certain things because there's emotions involved and there's real love. And some people genuinely have a spirit of forgiveness and they can look the other way and, focus on the bigger picture whilst others can't. So I hate to put it this way, right? But at some point, Ryan had a woman naked. I don't know whatever way they did whatever they did, but at some point her legs would have been spread for him to put his penis in a vagina, right? It may have been for recreational purposes, so they just want to have fun and then they accidentally got pregnant, or it might have been intentional. On that day he knew, I am going to ejaculate, put some sperm in this woman, and then she's going to fall pregnant and I start my own family. Yeah? All of that has happened. And what you are trying to get is closure by making a trip to say, do I really want this or I don't? Isn't the thought that what was meant to be yours and what is meant to be sanctified and holy and pure is no longer that? Isn't that enough for you to decide from a distance? What would getting closer change? Fact remains, they still slept and had sex and she's pregnant. That hasn't changed. It doesn't change whether you're in Australia or you're in Africa. So why did you feel, and really help me here, I'm really trying to understand, why did you feel a trip would change that view?
I just wanted to see things for myself and actually see what's actually going on. Because there were rumors about, like I said with Cheryl and her, there were rumors about 2 other guys that were involved. So the main purpose of the trip was to actually see, okay, 1, is she pregnant? Because I never got pictures of the scan or anything. These were just words. And I'm the type of person to I actually need to see things for myself. Not just trust words. I need actions.
Okay.
So
okay, so you hired the private investigator. What based in South Africa?
Yeah, because it turns out she wasn't actually in Zim. Neither was she actually living with my husband. She was actually in Durban the whole time with another guy.
Wait a minute. So,
yep.
So Charlene, who's your husband Ryan's side piece, was neither in Cape Town nor in Zimbabwe, but was in Durban with another guy. This is messy.
With another guy.
This is messy.
Like I said with Cheryl, there was another guy involved as well.
But was she pregnant?
Yes.
Okay. So
she
now it's
definitely
a question.
Was because she.
So now it's a question of whose
to,
baby it is. It could be Ryan's. It could be the other guy.
Exactly.
Mad.
Exactly.
Aren't people scared of STIs and sexual health
or
issues?
HIV?
Yeah.
They're not scared of HIV. They're not scared of AIDS. They're not scared of nothing.
Because at this point, if she's screwing whoever she has in Durban and screwing your guy, that's 3 people who could be unwell, right? And Ryan, did he have sex with you?
Yes, he did.
At what point?
Basically the whole trip in December, but I got tested before I left, and I made sure that he got tested as well.
Okay, so potentially, he could have, and obviously you said he got tested, but he ran the risk of catching something from Charlene and then passing it on to you.
Yeah, because funny thing is, Charlene was the one who was pressuring him to get tested as well. She kept saying, "Oh, every single week they were getting tested." That's what he said. And I'm like, if a girl is pressuring you to get tested every single week, shouldn't that be a red flag?
Bloody hell, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, she's in Durban the whole time?
Yeah, she's in Durban, but at one point when I was in Zimbabwe, she actually went to go and visit, Cheryl and Cairo, because she had some sort of appointment, because turns out she actually has cancer. So, turns out my husband was telling the truth that she did actually have cancer. So that's another messy part of the story. And I was like, are you really sure that I'm fighting with someone that is terminally ill over a guy?
This is crazy.
Yeah.
How did that play out in your mind then when you found out she's terminally ill?
When I found out that she was terminally ill, I just thought that maybe it was a story to like keep me distracted from what's actually happening. Because like of all the other crazy stories that came out prior. So like from speaking to her own brother actually didn't know. But then when I spoke to the mum was like, yeah, she actually does have it. This is what's happening. That's why she's in Durban getting treatment.
Did that make your heart soften towards her?
Nope.
Okay.
It still hasn't made... The thing is, it's her attitude that's sort of making me not soften towards her at all. Because she's... I don't know, like... I can be feisty as well and very overprotective, but she's on a different level. Like, Muna ane raf.
Ghetto.
Yeah. Because, like, I remember, like, in marriage therapy, because me and my husband are currently in marriage therapy at the minute.
Okay, so you're currently in marriage therapy. So you're still married.
Yeah, because I've tried so many times to say, like, guys, I'm done. I want to pay kupuro. I'm over it. But it's just his side are like, just give him one more chance. He can change. And they're just not letting it happen.
So has Charlene delivered the baby?
Yeah, she's had the baby. She's had a beautiful baby girl.
When was this baby delivered?
On the 22nd of March.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we talking DNA tests here?
Yeah, I actually want them to do a DNA test, but with Cheryl's influence, if you get someone to do a DNA test, you're calling them a prostitute.
So Charlene is saying no?
Both Charlene and Cheryl are saying no. The DNA test, both of them.
Because they don't want to be labeled what you just described as hoes.
Mm-hmm.
I know Charlene said that she's Ryan's girlfriend. Has Ryan openly admitted to that as well then? To having...
He only said that he only slept with her because he felt sorry that she had cancer.
Ryan.
And that was like... that was an excuse I've never heard of before.
So what was the sex meant to do?
She apparently wanted to leave a kid. She apparently wanted a kid.
So he thought he would do her the favor?
You can see where I'm going with this. Like, honestly, this story is just, it's become such a headache to me that, like, now that I'm even, like, right, I'm done.
Okay. Does Ryan think it's his baby?
He doesn't anymore, no.
Why? Because there's another guy in Durban.
Yeah.
My guy, you need that DNA test.
I know, but the thing is kind of caramba. I told him that he's not paying damages until the DNA tests are done. That's what I told him. Like, you're not paying anything until the DNA tests are done.
Is he up for it?
He's up for it, but the girls are not.
These girls are sounding dodgy.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you mentally? Because you clearly have a husband who's cheated on you before you even became a wife.
Right now, I'm just in the process of, I don't know. Like, you know when you're in your disappearing era? That's where I am right now. Like, I'm slowly detaching myself from this whole thing. Because like I said, I went to both sides of the family. And I was like, guys, I'm done. And the guy said, I'm not accepting it. So I'm just over it at this stage.
Are you really? Because you sound to me like if Ryan says the right things, gets a test done, whether it's his child or isn't, he makes a promise to you, it sounds like you'd still say yes to him.
Honestly, even if he gets the test done and the child comes out as his... I literally told him this. I was like, if the child comes out as his, I'm done. I'm out. Even if the child comes out as not his, he still cheated. He has really broken that trust that I had with him. So that's why I find it really difficult. Like, yes, I still love the guy, but it's just, there's no more trust.
Can you deal with that?
Not really. Like, I do want to give him another chance, but it's just the trust is a big thing for me. Like, if I can stay single over here and be faithful over here, why couldn't he have done the same thing? Like, it's really not hard.
Well, one thing is kind of working in your favor, which is the fact that you are far.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that you need to battle with is what's happening in your own head.
Yeah, that's true.
So for as long as you're in your head, this is going to be very difficult for you. And it won't get better anytime soon because your head is attached to you. It's not going anywhere. Unfortunately, you can't check your head in Zimbabwe and let it remain there and deal with shit there and your body continues on its own. It's literally on you all the time.
Yeah.
And really the best you can try and do is try and get out of your head.
Yeah, I actually went to hospital.
You went to hospital?
Because I was in hospital for like a week and 2 days because I didn't even know that your body can do this, but apparently your body can actually shut down from stress, like fully, and you just black out and you don't remember anything.
And this is what has happened with you.
Mm-hmm. So like prior to actually going to hospital, like I don't actually remember much of what actually happened. Like I just completely blacked out.
Tiombe, you're trading a fine line, my friend. Only in terms of what is really happening with your brain. If you say that's what it did, like it shut down, and there are certain things you don't remember. It's trying to signal something to you. I got a friend who's a doctor, and they're constantly saying you can never fight your body because your body will always give you a signal of what needs fixing. And it's you who just needs to listen to it. So if you have a headache and you have a persistent headache for 3 days, it's literally signaling to you something ain't right. Maybe blood pressure is raised, or maybe you're dehydrated. But whatever it is, it's telling you something. And that shutdown that happened is not a small thing.
It's not a small thing at all.
Yeah.
Because I think it was the pictures of her actually being pregnant was the bit, like the tip of the iceberg for me, because some parts of me really didn't want to believe that it was true. So I was like, in my head, I was like, nah, she's not pregnant. It can't, like, if she's got cancer, like, nobody can have an operation whilst they're pregnant. Like, it just doesn't add up. So in my head, I was just telling myself, like, she's not. And then I got the pictures. And turns out she actually was. And then that's when it happened.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I remember.
And maybe it's a good thing that that's all you remember. Because you know what is really attractive? Peace.
That is true.
You know, peace is attractive on anybody.
Yeah.
And one of the
like being in my disappearing era right now, like not talking to many people is so peaceful. It is really, really peaceful and beneficial. Like I would recommend it to anyone. Just go to the gym, be yourself. Just be by yourself. Go on solo dates. Don't be on your phone too much. Read a book. Like it sounds really cliche, but it helps.
Yeah, it does. You know, at some point you've got to feel the feeling, but don't become the emotion.
Yeah.
You know, so you feel sad, but then don't become sad if you can.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, witness that emotion if you can. Allow it so that it really gets into your system. And once you really understand what it's like, you get the opportunity to release it.
Exactly, yeah.
And release is such an incredible thing. Because once you're able to release stuff, you open the door to peace. And peace looks good on anyone and everyone.
Anyone, yeah. Like just being quiet as well, like not talking to anyone helps.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard, especially like if you're extroverted, but if people practice like the art of not talking too much, because like not everyone's happy for you.
Yeah.
And that's another big lesson that I learned. Like not everyone is happy.
Some people are quite happy to see you going through shit, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I always admire. It's those people who are able to move on without closure or an apology or a conversation. Because
exactly, yeah.
It really does hurt. but staying in a certain situation would easily have hurt them more. So keep healing. And I almost feel like saying the same thing to you. To say, okay, so this DNA thing feels like it will help you get that closure. As in, you will know that it's his or it isn't. But what you said earlier on is it doesn't change the fact that he still cheated.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And you said that trust is broken. So for me, it sounds to me like you are in a position where you know exactly what you want. It's just the how to do it without hurting as much as you probably are going to and need to.
Yeah.
So maybe start the closure process without getting that closure or that apology or that conversation. Because staying in this feels like it will continue to hurt you even more.
Especially now knowing that the baby is actually there.
Yeah.
And babies have like this magical way of like bringing people closer together.
Yep.
Because I just don't really like want to compete with that. Like you can't compete with it. Because I remember when we first tried marriage therapy, one of the pastors said, "No, you've hurt your wife because that was your wife's job to give you a kid, not another girl.
Yeah.
So you've actually given her your wife's job, and she's going to be hurt for the rest of her life. That's all she's going to think about now."
Yeah.
And this is the part where I found out that a lot of people in Zim, they do this. Like they'll have kids outside the marriage and the wife never knows, but everybody else in the family is supposed to know.
Yeah.
Which is really quite sad. Because when the wife does find out, like, it's a shit show.
Well, Tiombe, my friend,
Mm.
You have a lot to process there.
Yep. And this is just the first part.
You have a lot to process. And when you say it's the first part, how do you mean?
There's a little bit more to the story, but like that might just be another story for next time because that stuff is still happening now.
What else? What is it? Tell me.
Well, okay. So, have you ever heard of a thing called a sangoma?
Yeah, Sangoma. Yeah.
Yeah, so
doctor,
when I spoke about the PI, the PI found out that these girls actually go to a sangoma.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were literally followed everywhere, these girls. So that's why I was like, oh, this is a story for another day because it's another long story.
So do you reckon they're doing some juju things to keep Ryan's friend and Ryan?
Well, it doesn't make sense for them to stay if they know that they've got a family.
It doesn't make sense, what, for the girls to stay knowing that Ryan is married to you?
No, like, they know that Kyra's got a family. Like, she knows that Kyra has a family. But one thing that she doesn't want is for Kyra to go away because apparently the family wants to go to the UK so that they can all live together.
My way.
So that's why I come cheesy that. So when I got the pictures of them at the Sangoma, like, it started clicking.
You're fighting a losing battle, my friend.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I'm slowly detaching myself from these people because they're not worth it. They're just really not worth the time or the energy. But if you guys are going to do juju to keep other people's men, you do you if you think that's going to work. Just don't do juju on me.
Yeah. Apparently, juju really won't work on you unless you're connected to that sort of thing. So imagine.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, imagine where you are right now, right? They're radio stations, right? I don't know what the radio stations there are called, but if you had, say, an Australian news network, right, ANN1 and ANN2, you can't listen to both stations at the same time. Although they are in the air right now at the same time, you have to tune into that frequency to catch a station, right? Unless you tune in, it doesn't connect. Point I'm getting at is, with this whole juju stuff, when you're saying that you hope they don't do juju on you, unless you're tuned into whatever frequency they're into on that juju level, it may be in the air, but it won't get to you.
No, it won't.
So as long as you're not connected and you're not tuning that frequency, you're fine. Let them do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, true.
All it does for you is just give you an added layer of information for you to make a decision on whether you really want to be in this kind of space or you don't.
Yeah.
I can't get over the fact that peace genuinely does look good on anyone and everyone.
Yeah, that is very true.
You know, the mantra for me since the beginning of the year is choose peace, ... and then in capitals, always. Because peace is attractive.
Yeah.
Both to people around you and to yourself. And when you have conversations within yourself and you sit down and you look at yourself and think about where you've been, where you are, and where you need to be, if peace is a big part of that equation, you will even smile to yourself. Hey, thanks, man, Tiombe, for sharing this story with me. I have so many questions. But as far as you're concerned, I feel it's very clear, and you really do have the benefit of being far away. And you run the risk of being your own worst enemy by being in your head. Process whatever you need to internally, even within your head. Let it run its course. If you try and block it and fight it, you only put it at rest. It will come back with even more vigor and vitality. So experience the emotion, just don't become it. Let it come, let it hit you. Get as low as you need to, cry as many times as you need to. Eventually you get to a point where you can't cry anymore. And even if you try, if you ever tried crying and entertaining a thought that you know used to make you cry, but you still don't cry.
Yeah, right? That's the point where I'm up to. Like, I've just got no tears left at all.
That's a very good space to be in.
Because, like, I remember when this whole situation unfolded, like, I was going through all the emotions in, like, 60 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good space.
So now it's like, I'm just to the point where I'm just like, nah, there's no point. I've got better things to do in my day than cry.
Experience it in full, Sha. And just to play back the lessons, they'll play number 1. Ladies, please don't marry yourself. Now I totally get it. I know a few people who've done this. It's becoming a trend. If you have to chip in for a guy who's meant to be marrying you, that's a huge red flag. If he can't do it from day 1, he's not going to do it from that day going forth. Right? So please don't marry yourselves. Number 2, don't elope if you know that he has a family. Yeah, this is clear in what you just shared. And last but not least, nobody's more scared than someone who is about to tell the truth. And I guess this is what's happening with the DNA stuff. These girls know what the truth will really reveal.
Exactly,
And they are shit scared because there's a possibility it might not be Ryan's friend or Ryan himself. You know, which would be a relief, but at the same time, it's all just messy. They've all been double dipping somewhere. Right. Hey, you guys have been listening to another episode of The Feeling Station. I'm your host, Tinto, and I will catch you in next weekend's episode. Peace.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Satis on Daru Raini and Chagis.
Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over.
Satis on Daru Raini and Chagis.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Urudoi motoru noto kujidziru amai.
Kujidziru amai. Love is a fire.
Urudoi motoru noto kujidziru amai.